When I married Sarah, I believed I had at last found peace. She was gentle, warm, and came from a quiet family that never interfered in our lives. We had been married for 2 years. On the surface, everything looked perfect, but small things didn't quite add up. She rarely spoke about her family's past, and whenever I asked questions about her relatives, her replies were vague and evasive. I brushed it off, until one evening when my brother, Adil, who worked as a detective, came over. That night, Sarah cooked dinner for us. Later, while I was making tea, Adil drifted into the living room. He was the kind of man who noticed the smallest details others missed. On the table lay an old family photo album, one Sarah's mother had left behind during her last visit. It was half open, and out of habit, Adil picked it up and started flipping through. When I returned with the tea, I saw him staring at one photograph far longer than usual. His expression shifted from mild curiosity to something sharp, almost alarmed. Slowly, he closed the album, set it down, and gave me a look I couldn't interpret. Just then, Sarah came back into the room. Adil quickly masked his reaction with a smile, but I knew him too well. Something was bothering him. After dinner, Adil insisted we go for a short walk. Sarah offered to join, but he politely said he wanted some brother time. Once we were outside, he gripped my arm firmly and said, "Listen closely. That album has something you need to know." The seriousness in his tone unsettled me. "What do you mean?" I asked. He explained he had recognized several faces in those photographs. Some of the men pictured with Sarah's relatives aren't ordinary people. They're criminals I've investigated in the past. Adil was convinced that Sarah's uncle, the one she had always described as a simple businessman, was deeply tied to organized crime. At first, I thought my brother might be exaggerating, but the intensity in his eyes told me otherwise. He reminded me that as a detective, he never forgot faces. "I've seen these men in case files and police records," he said. "They're dangerous. And if your wife hasn't told you about them, there's a reason." My heart pounded as his words sank in. I tried to defend Sarah. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe her family had kept things from her too. But Adil shook his head. "There's more," he continued. "One man in that album was arrested years ago for money laundering. He walked free only because of powerful connections. If Sarah grew up around them, she knows more than she's admitted." As we walked further down the street, my thoughts spun. Suddenly, all the little things I had ignored started to make sense. Her refusal to attend family gatherings, her unwillingness to explain her father's sudden wealth, her nervousness whenever relatives were mentioned. My brother's discovery forced open a door I hadn't wanted to see behind. I asked Adil what I should do. He told me not to confront Sarah right away. "Be cautious. If she's hidden this from you, pushing her could make her defensive. Watch carefully. I'll run a background check to see how deep this goes. But prepare yourself, your marriage may be built on secrets." That night, I went home with his warning echoing in my mind. Sarah smiled as if nothing had happened, but I couldn't look at her the same way. Every laugh, every word, every gesture felt layered with hidden meanings. I was torn between the love I had for my wife and the fear of the truth she might be keeping. Over the next few days, I noticed how carefully she dodged any mention of her relatives. Each time I brought up family, she shifted the subject. Meanwhile, Adil kept updating me, strengthening his suspicions that her family was entangled in criminal networks. The weight of it grew heavier. As much as I wanted to trust Sarah, I couldn't ignore what was in front of me anymore. Eventually, I confronted her. I told her about the album, about what Adil had recognized, and about the doubts consuming me. For a long while, she stayed silent. Then tears welled in her eyes. She admitted she had hidden the truth out of shame. Her family's past was riddled with crime and corruption, and she had spent her whole life trying to break free from it. By burying it, she had hoped for a normal life with me. Hearing her confession cut both ways, painful because she had lied, but relieving because she finally spoke the truth. I didn't know what would become of our marriage, but one thing was clear: If Adil hadn't noticed that family album, I would have remained blind to the reality surrounding the woman I had married.